Maar dat is voor 2 personen.
Alright, so let's take a look at these open source business models. Again, there's a very fair chance that during the final exam there will be a question like, okay, what is a loss leader, or what is brand licensing, or what does sell it free at me? And we're going to look at it now. Well, support sellers like Red Hat, they give you the software for free, and then you get support that you pay for. So they pay for well, media distribution, so you can order a disc, a DVD with manuals and stuff from their website. A bit of branding, so you can say, hey, I'm from Red Hat, buy me 17 Red Hat caps. Training, consulting, custom development, and post-sale support. Nothing that you didn't expect, I think. So a loss leader? A loss leader is, well, you want to sell something, or maybe make some money, but if you can see that with this product you can't, then just give it away for free. You can do this to build a brand and a reputation, add value to traditional products, making them more functional and useful, and increase the overall base of loyal customers. Well, in the case of Eclipse, that's very interesting, because of course Microsoft was sort of leading that market with Visual Studio, and then IBM noticed that with Eclipse they weren't going anywhere, so they said, you know, let's throw this out into the open source, still throw in a lot of money, and see if in that way we can get critical mass. And in the end they did fairly successfully. Now Eclipse is the prevalent platform. Is there anything else I want to say about loss leaders? So what I've also seen in a number of cases is that if you're a company that has, let's say, maybe a portfolio of 40 products, and you see one of those products is not performing well, and with every customer that you gain, you actually lose a little bit of money, then it might be interesting to say, hey, if we can get a community of customers, join them, and have them together maintain this product, we can sort of offload it on the customers and not try to maintain it ourselves anymore. Yeah?
Isn't this just privately for people?
Is it what?
Privately, you can try it, and if you like it, you can buy it.
Trial version.
Yeah, like a trial version. Not so much, because I mean, in the case of Eclipse, there's no trial version. I mean, they build an ecosystem of value around it, so you can have a commercial component that works on the whole Eclipse platform. But it's not like a trial, because at the end of the day, you can always keep using Eclipse for free.
Yes, but it's built to brand and reputation. So you build.
Yeah, but then you will sell something else. So yeah, I think there's one that's even closer to what you're saying. So that's why I'm being so vehement about it. Well, widget frosting. So that's when you want to sell a little bit of hardware, maybe a nice router or something like that, and then you put some open source free software on it for a number of reasons. One is you don't have to continue development, because what you are good at is selling hardware. Providing open source drivers, earning goodwill, and generating physical goods. So these are two examples of that, SGI and Samba. I'm not sure if SGI is still in existence after all that happened in the meantime. Accessorizing, so sell a book with it, sell I don't know, caps with it, sell, like I said, hardware with it. O'Reilly and their standards. So for O'Reilly, that's actually a nice example. They have free standards, but then they have all these kind of lecture books that tell you how to implement the standard. Service enabler. So yeah, so you give parts. So this is more like trialability, I think. Yeah, so for instance, Heroku is a good example of this. You can use Heroku for free for quite a long time, but then after that you have to start paying, which is pretty much like the old software trial where you can use it for 30 days or something like that. Have you all seen the Heroku website? I think it's a great example of, I think if you're ever planning to start a SaaS company, you have to know Heroku in the way in which they do business. It's very dark, very specific, it's a bit developer oriented. So as you can see immediately, you look at code or something like, yeah, here there's actually commands from Linux. Well, I think it's a very nice way of looking at it. Also, the pricing is something that I never understood. You have web dynos and you have worker dynos, and you can buy them all. And now already I'm spending $503 a month, or $540, depending on how you look at it. So, well, I think it's a really interesting company. Also, their styling, quite nice. Yeah. Anywho, Moving right along, well, software franchising, so that means that you give it away for free and then others sell it for you, or you ask them for a little bit of contribution so that they can sell it for free. So the ODA was a nice example of that. They have this software, they give it to their partners, and they pay just a bit of a membership. Yeah, or if they make, so open design, people who work with open design, they make a little bit of money by selling their own products on top of it, and then they give part of that money back to open design, the open design alliance. Dual licensing, well, this is already, we already charged it, so we already talked about it. MySQL is free for student use or for a small website for your uncle or things like that. But as soon as you start doing this large scale, so you're using it for a website like bol.com, well, then you're doing so many requests per hour. Then also MySQL is willing to give you advice and help you with it. So then obviously there's well, some charge there also. Interesting that they say GPL. I wouldn't necessarily say most often GPL. Brand licensing, so open the source code, but retaining brand reminiscence and intellectual property rights. And customers still pay for the license, but the source code is open source. This gives you another number of advantages. People have transparency to the code. However, they can't take it and sell it under Slinger CRM because, well, then they basically break into copyright rules unless they change truly everything. Sell it, free it. So it's a loss leader model, but then you just keep it. So first you sell it the traditional way, and then after a certain length of time you open it up. We already talked about this already. Timing is really important. So one of the most important things, of course, is let's say one of your favorite products to use. Let's say WhatsApp. If you would now say, okay, WhatsApp, we throw it out into open source because it's no longer generating enough money for us. That'd be a pretty, hefty decision. Because they're still making money off of it. But let's say they're not. Then, what would happen to WhatsApp? Would we all start developing for it, or would all of us go? Especially if it's my sister, who is or your age, I think, she would probably go, hell no, I don't want to work on WhatsApp. I'm not going to code for WhatsApp. So let's hope it stays alive. And as soon as she gets her first crash, because one of the smart guys in the room, put a bug in there, then she'll probably leave it be. And oh yeah, this is also interesting. Customers that pay a premium for the value of having the software earlier rather than later. So think about Canonical, who sell their server version very expensively. Can anybody give me a loose piece of paper? Yeah, sure. Can you have it go around with attendance list? Because I wanted to do that, but I forgot. All right, so licensing. Well, here are some of the points that are important for licensing. I think we already talked about it a little bit. We already talked a little bit about derivatives from your code, or derivatives as these guys call it. The effectiveness of the license, commercial versus non-commercial reuse, ownership, and all these things are established in any license that you create. So here you see a nice comparison table of the open source licenses. This table is now maybe 3 years old, so you can imagine that it may have already changed, or it's probably a lot longer. My favorite license is the MIT license. One, the fact that I worked there, so that was pretty cool. But also the fact that it's most open. It's really like, okay, here's my code, do whatever the hell you want with it. And it fits especially well with me being an academic, because whatever I write is probably throwaway code anyway. So I can release it under the MIT license always. I can just say, have fun with it, because I don't care what happens. I don't want to make money. And you can see that, some are more restrictive than others. GPL is a nice one there. So all derivative work must be under the same license. Well, you only see that for GPL and LGPL. Must show license when run from command line. So you can see there's, some of these are very restrictive and some of them are very open. This is not something you need to know for your exam, but what I do want you to realize is what these factors are and how you can compare these things to each other. Creative Commons, this is something you will see more and more often as well. This is sort of, how do I say, the previous table for dummies, but it's also very easy to use on music, pictures. So let's take a quick example. Ah, crap, no. It might be here somewhere. No. So let's take a quick look at the business canvas. So as you all know, the business, or may know, the business model canvas is pretty cool. Ah, crap, there's no Creative Commons. Ah, there we go. See if we can zoom in on this. Download. Alright, let's download. Are we downloading? Ah, there we go. Save it. Hopefully not too much for Microsoft. So I already talked about
Spacebar now,
spacebar. Yes. So here you see some of these Creative Commons signs, and I don't know what they mean because, like I said, they're for dummies, and I tend to not read symbols because I consider them for the symbol-minded. But so here you see attribution. So that means, okay, if one of you, a good example of this, I think I actually will use the example later. So if one of you takes a nice picture of this classroom, let's say I take now a nice picture of this classroom, and Floor wants to take the picture and change her hair because she doesn't like how it falls, and she wants to have it short, so she uses some Photoshop. Then if this is on there, she should say, change this picture, but as it was made by Sneer Jansen, because she just attributed it to me. Share alike, so can somebody use it commercially? Apparently yes, Floor can use this for her shampoo brand, which is probably why she changed her hair. Can somebody create a new version of it? Yes, but they must license the new work on a share alike license. So that's also sort of this LGPL type idea. So, no derivatives, you can say commercially sure, but no new versions. Well, you can imagine all these things mean something. I think I take this, so we talked about this, as long as they give you credit. So example, Jane publishes her photograph with an attribution license because she wants the world to see user pictures, provide to give her credit. Bob finds it online, he wants to use it on his website, he can, but he has to say, hey, Jane did something here. Non-commercial, so you can do with it whatever you want as long as it's not commercially. So blah blah blah, Camille incorporates a piece of Gus's image into a collage poster, not allowed to sell it without Gus's permission. So I think the business model canvas, you're not allowed to sell it without the permission of Alex Osterwald. No derivatives work, so everything can be done except for changing it. You have to leave it for what it is. Yeah, I think it makes it sort of see where it's going. Share alike, you allow others to distribute derivative works only under a license identical to the license of government zone. Again, very important for these kind of rules. Alright, so do you all sort of see where I'm going with this? Openness of companies, closeness of companies, software industry changing hugely. Why do people contribute to open source? Those are, I think, the most important points. Maybe you can turn the camera off now, because it's going to run out of space anyway.
Er staan nog 55 minuten.
Er zijn nog 55 minuten.
Staat er, ja.
Van Mars vast. Oké. Terug naar het Nederlands. Ik wil even wat dingetjes laten zien, ook met name omdat ik hier straks een leuke strategische vraag over heb. Nederland Open in Verbinding is een, hoe noem je dat? Een initiatief van Steven.